Steering wheel malfunctioning? Then keep watching. Hopefully this is the solution to your problem. Good morning, beautiful people. Dominique here with another video. And today I'm going to show you how I changed my electric power steering motor on a 2005 Chevy Malibu 2.2 Ecotech engine. Tools needed: ratchet and extension, 8mm socket, 7mm socket, a E8 socket, and possibly a E10 socket.
The power steering pump is not under the hood. It's not under the hood. It's actually on the inside of the car. I'll get to that in a second.
Before we get started, this is your power steering motor or assist, and this is the built-in sensor. It's built inside your steering column, and it also can make the steering wheel malfunction or twitch. It's best to change both of them. I changed the motor first and went back and changed the steering column with the built-in sensor next. However, I didn't record that, but back to the video.
First thing first, disconnect the negative terminal from the battery using an 8mm socket. And just lay this somewhere out of the way. All right, so next, get inside your car and you're gonna be removing the lower panel below the steering wheel. And there's two screws, one right here. And let me see if I can get you a vision. There's one right here. Look like it's been removed already. So you're gonna need a 7mm socket, ratchet and extension to remove the screws. Trying to make it where you can see it, but it's a little difficult to get to. It's a little difficult to record and use my tool at the same time. So, see what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna remove this screw, and then to the left is another screw. All right, so got the first one removed on the right, and got the second one removed on the left. So I had to get this a pull on the side. I just stuck my fingers on the right and gave it a nice little pull, and it came right off. So now that the screw's removed, go ahead and give it a little pull. All right, so I actually had to get a flathead screwdriver and pry this thing out because it was pretty tough trying to pull it myself. So I had to get like I said, I got a flathead screwdriver and I pried it and it popped loose. As you can see, the clip is right here holding it. Clip at the top. Do the same thing on the left side. You can see the clip right here. Just pop it. And now that I got this left one popped, as you can see. So you want to take a flathead screwdriver and pop this off too. This is the clamp that's holding this bottom panel on, and it's connected over here to the side. 3 clamps holding the side panel, and now you have more access. And this is the last screw holding that bottom panel. So you're gonna need a 7mm socket and ratchet. After that, the panel will just drop. When you're doing this, be careful not to be too rough pulling down, because that's the connection to your OBD2 port to be able to scan your check engine light, and you don't want to tear that off. All right, so here's your electric power steering motor or assist, and you're going to need an E8
and possibly an E10 to remove it.
All right, so now you're gonna need a E8 socket and ratchet to remove the motor. All right, so now that the first one removed, and you can see the second screw right here. Trying to get you a good view. Okay, that's weird. So the screw in the back take an E10. The screw in the front up here takes a E8, and the one in the back takes a E10. That's weird. Oh, back to the video. And once you remove the screws, the electric power steering motor comes out. It's a little difficult.
So right behind the electric power steering motor, you will see multiple harnesses. Disconnect them all.
All right, so I removed one harness. All right, so finally I disconnected all these stubborn harnesses. It's pretty difficult to get out. And you can just raise these clips up and squeeze the tab, but I removed mine and then squeezed the tab. Yeah, and that's how you disconnect the harness on the motor. All right, so now it's time to install the replacement electric power steering motor. All right, now it's time to reverse the process, and the first thing I'm going to do is plug back in these harness wires. All right, so I'm going to plug up these harness. I'll show you what it look like after. All right, so this is what it look like plugged up. Go on closer to the motor. You got the white end harness first, then you got the black one in the middle, and a small white one on the end. Don't forget to plug the black clip back in. All right, so next you're gonna lift this motor up and slide it right into here. And then you're gonna take your E9 screws and tighten it back up. All right, once you get the motor back in the slot, you can go ahead and put your screws in a slot to secure it so it won't fall back down. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just tighten it up. Like I said, on this particular model, this screw right here is the E8. I have two different sizes under here. Why? I don't know. Gonna take my ratchet and make sure I tighten it up. All right, so now that both of the screws are in, I can go ahead and put this panel back up. That's the job is almost complete. All right, so it's time to put the panel back on. Put the clamps in first when you hear the snaps, then put the screws back in. All right, so I'm gonna start with the two screws on the side. Hand tighten them. Then grab my 7mm socket and ratchet and tighten it up. All right, so now the dashboard is up. Like I said, before you put both of the screws in at the bottom, make sure all the clamps are in, that's snapped in, and it'll make it easier for you to be able to put the screws in. Oh, and how can I forget? Plug this back in and go ahead and stick it back in there. And just tighten up your negative terminal with an 8mm socket. And that's the last step. You can go ahead and start it up and test it out. And that's how you replace an electric power steering motor on a 2005 Chevy Malibu.
Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.